Hi, Misha here.
This is Jake.
And we're tackling another $5 Patreon requested video. So what do we have tonight?
Yep. If you're interested in requesting a special video be made for our patrons that are contributing $5 and up, which can be a one-time thing if you want, you just go out and post your request, and then eventually we'll get around to recording it. It does take us a little while to get there, but we do appreciate everybody's patience.
Yep, I think that's it. Looking at other channels, I've noticed their request videos can be months or even a year out. It's just, you get it. Plus, with COVID and stuff, we don't get to meet up as frequently.
Right.
So what do we have today? So,
today, our asker, our requester, who we've apparently lost the name from, says, I would like to hear what 3 rifles available in 2020 Misha and Jay would pick if you could only have one chambered in 7.62x39 from a prepper or home defense standpoint. Maybe pick a low, middle, and high price point and tell why you would pick the choices you made. I'm thinking about accuracy and reliability more than collectability. Really curious if you guys pick all AKMs or if other types in that calibers make the list.
Okay, so why don't we start? I'll do, you do, we'll do like kind of low, like economy level, and then medium, and then high tier level.
Right.
And I would say for economy level, he didn't say not AKs, so with that, you know, any AK is going to have roughly the same accuracy in 7.60-39 and the same reliability. But all things said, we've just been very impressed and had a lot of trigger time with the WBP Fox. So if you don't mind paying a little more, a Wasser's good. There's nothing wrong with a Wasser at all. But if you want to spend a couple of $100 more, the WBP, pretty nice fit and finish. You get 2 scope mounting options instead of 1, which potentially helps with accuracy. You get an FB Radom cold hammer forged chrome line barrel, which I don't think anyone would argue that Radom makes bad barrels. You get a real forged front trunnion, which, to be fair, the Wasser has 2. Takes standard mags, standard furniture, with the small caveat that the Barrel style mount requires it either be chopped off on your gun or have the stocks ever so slightly inletted on the sides, which can be done in 5 minutes with the Dremel. But other than that, they are bog standard AKMs. Yep. And that's just and I've had mine since 2018, and it's never missed a lick, and it's also a soft, smooth shooter.
Yep. So for my low / medium pick as well, I had a hard time thinking. I was like, what even is a low-priced AK nowadays that I would recommend? One of the nice things about the WBP Fox is they offer a sporter model that comes in that has a single stack magwell.
Yeah.
So the magwell has to be milled off. It does have a thumbhole stock, and it has a tacked-on muzzle nut. So if you can find somebody that can do that work for you, or if you're comfortable enough doing that work, that could save you a little money. And even then, the thumbhole stock that it comes with, and the front handguards, which are what I have on this one here.
Yeah, the handguards are just straight military. They even have the heat shield.
They're and they're marked Circle 11 actually on the side. Interestingly enough, are really high quality. I think. I even think the thumbhole stock it's the most comfortable thumbhole stock that I've seen on an import AK before.
You could do worse.
It's not bad. But that said, of course, you can also convert it. This is my go-to AK for the purposes that you mentioned. This is my WBP Fox. I'll do a longer. I've already done one video of
we've done quite a bit on
how I set this up. I will do a longer video about accuracy and stuff on that in the future and why I picked this to be my go-to AK. But yeah, the WBP Fox is personally my go-to AK.
And that's, you know, considering other guns like the SLR 107. Like I said, the Wasser's not a bad choice. We really like the Z-PAP.
Yep,
the new one. But my only reservation there is it does take non-standard furniture. And for someone's AK, it's always nice to be able to take the normal stocks and handguards. Right. All things being equal. Plus, it is a little heavier. And that might be, especially for like a go-to practical thing, the weight doesn't really give you anything and makes it a little more cumbersome.
Yep. So what about high-end?
Well, medium first. He wanted 3, remember?
Oh, that's right, yeah. So I did low and medium in mine, which is the Fox. But
yeah, and I'm going to do I'll do 2 in kind of the medium. If we want to stick in the AK arena, I really am a big fan of the milled arsenals, SAM-7R or SAM-7SF. The SFs just are supposedly coming back in. The R's are hard to get, but man, they're nice guns. They've been priced fairly. They do have more weight, but they're very smooth. You have that same reliability. I thought about saying the Galil Ace, but I got to be honest, in the 7.62 by 39 specifically, I just really like how the Arsenal mills shoot more than the Galil Ace.
For sure.
Plus, they seem a little less mag picky.
Yep.
They have a standard side rail mount. Accuracy's fine. Yeah, I'd say that's for a medium pick. It's just hard to go wrong with that. And I think retail price on the Sam 7 SF is around $1,700 right now. So that's pretty medium for this day and age.
Yep.
Sadly.
I'm pretty much going to stick exclusively with recommending AKs for 7.62 by 39. I don't have any experience with 7.62 by 39 AR pattern guns.
No, and they're not really military. I just...
The thing, for the purposes that you've mentioned personally, the thing that concerns me about any of those are magazine compatibility and parts cross compatibility.
Yeah. With
an AK, you've pretty much got guaranteed parts compatibility to a certain extent, and it varies between countries and so on.
The thing to remember about both the AR-15 and the AK, those platforms were designed around that cartridge to fire. They are designed originally 308 and then 223, and then the AK 7.62 later 5.45. But the cartridge really came first, and the gun around it. So when you try to play swap around,
mixed success.
Yeah.
I have the same reservation for things like the CMMG Mutant and those other types of guns where they still allow the use of AK mags, but with kind of more of an AR setup. Same reason. For parts, for being able to get furniture and magazines and all that stuff. If you're talking about being in a situation where you need to be able to get those parts and magazines in maybe a market where it might be hard to get parts and magazines for guns, AK mags are always going to be around. AK parts are going to be general.
Well, I would say that too. If you look at an AK mags, I agree with. What parts are there? There's not much to break aside from your bolt. And what's in it and your trigger group. There's nothing else in an AK.
Right. I'm thinking more firing pins, recoil springs.
It's like all get a spare bolt or two, get a spare firing pack, FCG. That's it. Everything else is
plenty available and they're inexpensive to get.
And all of these pretty much take the same. With the understanding if you replace the entire bolt, you have headspace and you need to fit it.
So interestingly, for high end, and I guess our thought process of what high, medium, or low are very subjective. I was going to say Sam 7K. Sam 7K is my other AK go-to because it's very compact and it is an extremely smooth shooter. It's very, very low recoil, and with the booster on it, or that conical flash hider, I guess you could say, conical muzzle device.
It's Bulgarian 4-piece.
It pushes the blast forward. It's not very concussion-y, and it's just very low recoil. I like the flip notch or ghost ring sight on it. Scope mounting can be a little bit tricky because of where the placement of the rear sight is, but that is my other go-to AK is my Sam 7K.
I'm going to give an honorable mention to the VZ58. Love that gun, but it does have more parts to go wrong than an AK, and it's harder to find the parts. So I really like it, but as a go-to-war thing, I think when the Czechs designed it, they were a little too focused on lightweight and compactness for a true just all-day. That's not to say they're not extremely reliable and fun and actually quite accurate. But honorable mention, but gonna have to squeak that out. Gonna give 2 for the high end. Bren 2 S or MS. It's not an AK. I think we need some variety here. It does have the reliability of an AK. It is made for a military contract, at least a military customer, so it's not just a commercial gun like the Mutant.
The trigger is great out of the box.
Yeah, good trigger, very ergonomic, ambidextrous, lefty friendly.
Yeah.
Last round hold open with release. It does have interchangeable barrels, certainly more so than an AK. High quality barrels. And overall, just a modern gun, and probably about the most modern 7.62-39 military gun out there.
Right.
The only downside for a lot of people is they don't take standard AK mags.
Right.
But you can't have it take standard AK mags and be what it is.
Right.
It wouldn't have the bolt hold open, and it wouldn't have the AR-15 compatible magwell system, so it can be, and it can be switched over to 5.56, which is kind of nice.
Yep. Yeah, the only reason why I didn't go with the Bren 2 and 7.62-39 is the mags. It's the only reason why I didn't pick it.
Another time, and this is really high-end choice, we'll call it extra high-end, the Swiss 5.53R.
Oh, sure.
And I'm only mentioning it because they were made for a Russian contract, military contract, and so they were tested in full auto, designed with standard stuff, and as a carbine, if you SBR'd or whatever, they are very smooth shooters. They do have rails, they do have bolt hold opens, and those, unlike the Bren 2, they do take standard mags. Now, the bolt hold open is a manual one, not an automatic, obviously, but they do take standard AK mags. They do give you a bolt hold open system. They are ambi friendly, except for the charging handle. They do have a welded on top rail. So if you're just wanting kind of the creme de la creme of 7.62-39, that might be it.
Yeah.
The Bren 2 might be a little more functional, but as far as just fit and finish and being attractive, that's probably the best.
Yep. So if you picked an overall out of all those, what would you say?
For 7.62-39?
Yeah.
Probably the WBP, an AK, because the thing is, if you're going to use it as a go-to-war gun, if you're going to use it as a home defense gun and you have to use it, it's going to be confiscated by the police. You don't want your SIG, you don't want your VZ, you want just a bone stock standard gun that if it gets confiscated or stolen or broken, yeah.
I'll throw in a Vepr 47 there. If you bought a Vepr 47 thinking it was going to be your go-to gun, it's going to be in the same boat, because now you've got a very collectible gun is sitting in an evidence locker.
And to be fair, even before that, as nice as the Vepr is, it's more of a range gun because of its weight.
Yeah, that's the thing that would stop
it's a chunky monkey
on the Vepr is that 2 pounds difference between it and a standard AKM, right? Like, that doesn't seem like anything, but it seems like a lot if you're having to lug it around all day. So it really does. Trimming out any unnecessary weight where you can does make a difference.
Plus, you have limited handguard options.
Yep, that too.
Overall, I think the Sega SGL-21, back when it was available, was probably a more well-rounded gun than the Vepr, because the Vepr, at the end of the day, is a cut-down light machine gun.
Right.
And you just have to accept it for what it is.
Exactly.
But yeah, there's not a lot of guns in 7.62-39 modern. Now, most of the modern world is 5.56 with some 7.62 NATO, because those kind of cover both. Of course, you also see 6.5 Creedmoor. You don't really hear much about 6.8 anymore.
Right.
And even 300 Blackout, you don't hear as much about.
Right.
But yeah.
Yep.
World we live in.
Yep.
But yeah, sorry about the delay in the video, but hope that kind of answered it. We tried to throw up some photos for you there to look at. And if you have any questions, feel free to post them below.
Yep. This is Jay.
And this is Misha.
And we'll catch you next time.
Bye.